Our speaker, who has been waiting patiently in the wings. Carolyn Cummins is currently the Director of Technology Partnerships for the Workforce Solutions Capital Area, where I worked for many, many years. She is going to be talking about social media and how it can impact your job search. She has over 25 years of sales and marketing experience, small scale as an entrepreneur, and large scale, managing large corporate sales divisions. She has been cultivating business social media content for over 15 years for businesses of all scales and in a variety of industries, including fitness, restaurants, pools, real estate, and more. Her passion is teaching people how to find the joy in life. We all need that. She has helped entrepreneurs and companies with the classic marketing and organizational practices, as well as bringing companies up to speed on better digital marketing practices. Now, as Santosha Solutions, Ms. Cummins helps individuals and organizations define their goals and teaches them to manifest their own destiny in business and in life. I hope you will all look her up on LinkedIn. Her LinkedIn profile, her about section is really interesting. You're going to like it. So with no more delay, I give you Carolyn Cummins.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. Really great to be here. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to go through social media and how that impacts your job search. And Shannon, afterwards, we need to talk about these positions that you're looking for, because I'm interested in that information as well. Right. So we're going to go ahead and just dive right in. Social media and your job search. You might not think that your social media has anything to do with your job search. And that's sort of a misnomer. If you're not paying attention to your social media, you're really kind of missing the boat. So there we go. Right, so this is a little bit older study, but it's telling that even in 2015, this was a relevant topic, that 84% of employers recruited through social media. Right, so although you might have some other channels of in-person, person-to-person networking, referrals, lots of people are going to digital platforms to find candidates. And then 43% of those employers screen their candidates through social media networks and search engines. In that same study, 30% of the companies have actually disqualified candidates after doing an online search and viewing a person's social media. Right? So you might think that your social media doesn't matter, that maybe you have it private, maybe you think that it's completely fine to say, kind of whatever is on your mind. And that's one position to take. Certainly, there's lots of positions to take when it comes to social media. But one thing that you do need to know is what is on the internet about you. So I just talked to a person the other day, and she was shocked to find out that when she put her name in Google, that her home address, her home phone number, her email address, not her work email, her personal email address were online and readily available to anybody that was going to search for her. So not only in your job search, but just as a person, you need to know what is online about you. So Google your name. Now, you do need to do this in an incognito window because Big Brother is everywhere. And so your devices, your browsers all know what you've been searching. So you want to do this in an incognito window, which if you're not familiar with that, when you go to a browser, you can click and there's an option that gives you a choice to do sort of a private browser, if you will. Okay. You want to search yourself on there and then see what comes up, because this is what people are doing. Jobs are going to do this. People that you network are going to search for you and see what comes up. Okay. I have another case where a client of mine hired somebody and I needed their bio information. perfectly innocent. I did a search on the internet, and I came up with some background stuff that was pretty damaging. And it was in the top 3 things on the page. Never had heard this information before, so I sent it to my client and they decided how to move forward with it. But you do need to know that these things are out there and that people are going to be able to see them. So you want to know what the good, the bad, and the ugly is about what's out there. And you can change some of those things if you work really hard at it, if you don't like what's out there. You want to think about what your social media is and what it looks like. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then search all the places that have profiles set up for you that you did not set up. And it's kind of scary how that happens. But think about any place that you go online where it says, oh, create a profile. Okay, and you go and you create a profile. Well, boom, now you're in their database. And so sometimes over the course of our lifetimes of the internet, we've created profiles for things that we forgot that we created. Does anybody remember MySpace? Because I still have a MySpace profile. It's pretty bad, but if I was looking for a job, I need to know because at some point that might show up on some kind of search. Okay, so just keep those things in mind.
Carolyn, this is Kathy. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
And also, do you want people to ask questions during the presentation or to wait? Okay. So people, you can either put them in the chat and we'll ask Carolyn, or you can unmute. We had a board member who has a name that can be a male name or a female name. And when he looked himself up, he discovered that there was a female with his very same name who was a stripper. And it was very, very difficult for him to get rid of that. So I'm hoping that you're going to also talk a little bit about if you have something negative that's out there in cyberspace, how to minimize that.
Okay, so that is a great point, Kathy. So my name is Carolyn Cummins. And if you look up Carolyn Cummins without a G in the name, there's actually, oddly enough, multiple Carolyn Cummins out there in the world. To me, that seems like a completely odd thing to happen, but okay. And yes, some of those people are, they're all over the world. But if one of those people was not a good light for me, we'll just say that they were a stripper, then I might want to then sort of rebrand myself as Carolyn K. Cummins, which is my middle initial. So then anywhere I put my name out on the internet, it's never just those 2 first and last, it's always with the middle initial. So that's one way that you can kind of combat that. The other thing is that you have to understand how the internet works, and the internet is going to expose the things that have the most interaction and the most clicks. So if there is an article of negative nature about you, you can do what many, many businesses do, right? If you think about any political, business, bad story, the way they get rid of that, besides the fact that just other bad stuff happens in the world, and that's more interesting to talk about, is they actively PR to get that pushed farther and farther down on the Google search by getting good things talked about them and getting people to click on them. So the more time somebody clicks on profiles about you that have good things, if somebody has the same name as you, and that's not, something positive, then you want to work hard to get your information up in the ranks. Now, I say that it's not easy, but it is something that you can do. And if you start these things before you need it, then you have a better chance of having it be a little bit easier when you do need it, right? The time to be working on your social media, your digital presence as a person, as a human, is not the day you need to get a job. Right? That may be in the situation that you're in now. And so now you're going to start from today and evaluate these things. But you always want to start doing these things early prepping ahead of time so that you are in a better position. So I mentioned keeping things private. You can privatize most of your social media, your Facebook page, your Instagram. There's certain things that you can not publish in LinkedIn. But why? If you're looking for a job, you want yourself to be available so that the potential employer can see you in the best light. They can see who you really are. They're hiring a person. They're not hiring a piece of paper. They're not hiring just your skills also, right? They're hiring an entire person, and everything about you plays into whether you're going to fit into their culture. So although you might want to keep some things private, you might want to think about opening those up and making them a little bit more public so people get a better sense of who you are. Because a lot of times, particularly right now, you might be doing a Zoom call, right? If they can't see anything except your face, a lot of times I noticed a lot of people were blurring out their background. Maybe you've got some kind of screen. Maybe you do those Zoom backgrounds so you look like you're in Hawaii, right? So they don't really get a sense of you because all they can see is your face. And then, you know, maybe if it's old school, you just talk to them on the phone. So they need a little bit more about you to get a full sense of who you are. That being said, there's probably some things on your social media that you don't want a current employer or potential employer to see. Okay? So you want to go through your social media and review it. And the things that you do want, you want a professional picture. So if you have a picture of you and your bestie out at St. Patrick's Day having a drink, probably not the best picture, right? Find a picture that is expressive of the kind of position that you're looking for. Remove or take down any photos or make them private that don't cast you in the best light. Again, it's not that party pictures are bad. You can still be at a party, but you need to decide if that's the right culture. If you're trying to apply at a company that has a clear no tolerance policy on alcohol, you know, if that was their thing, maybe they're a recovery place, then you wouldn't want pictures of you in that light. You want to go through and look at pictures that other people have tagged you in, because not everything that's on the internet is because you voluntarily put it up there. So I'm going to show you an example here. If I go to my own Facebook page, I go down to photos. These photos that say photos of you, these are things where I'm tagged. I may or may not have posted those, but a potential employer can see these. These are all public, assuming that they're public on the person that tagged you, that their information, that their post is public. So you might be a little surprised about what people can find about you. Now, your photo specifically, you would need to make sure that each photo is categorized in privacy to either public, semi-public, which is like friends of friends, or private. So those are a couple of different options there. Okay. But this photos of you is really important because that's not something that you necessarily added to Facebook yourself. You want to make sure that your about section is professional. There's free speech out there. You can say, write just about anything that you want to. But when you're in a job search, you need to consider how that is going to portray you. And if you are trying to find a job where you're allowed to say profanity or you're allowed to say inflammatory statements and you don't care that it comes across a certain way, then great, keep those things on your profiles. But if you are trying to find a job where those things might not cast you in the best light, just consider that and decide to tone that down a little bit so you can at least get in the door, because your social media isn't going to get you the job necessarily, but it is going to get you in the door, or it's going to stop you from getting in the door. Okay, we're trying to get you in the door. All right. And then be active. So earlier, I believe it was Kathy that mentioned talking about sharing on your LinkedIn articles that relate to the job that you're looking for. This is a little bit of passive indication of your expertise, right? So utilize your tools. If you're looking for a technology job, you see a technology article, post about it. And you can say something like, I really loved doing this when I worked at XYZ. This was my favorite part of this job, tinkering with this piece of technology. I love being innovative, and look at what they're doing at this company. Right? All of those keywords, use those in your post so that people are like, oh yeah, okay, they really know what they're talking about. You're seen as an expert. You're seen as a forward-thinking person. Those are the kinds of people that they're looking for. All right. So again, just to reiterate, you don't want to talk about inappropriate jokes, comments, or statements. You don't want to say anything negative about a previous employer. If you have done that, remove it. Posting provocative or negative images of yourself. And if you're not sure if it's one of these negative things, then the chances are it's negative. You also can just ask a friend and see, but chances are if you have to question it, probably shouldn't be there. And then don't embellish your skills, just state your skills. I loved what Kathy said about learning. This is the time to get new certifications, to get new skills. And the skills, your skills learning don't necessarily have to be related to the job that you're looking for, but the fact that you sought out a course on something and you can explain why you thought that was interesting shows that you're willing to learn, that you are open to change, that structure is only structure, that you're like a skyscraper and you move, right? That it's all going to be good. Potential employers are going to like that. There's a recent study by the University of Ohio that found that although we are typically protected from divulging personal information about ourselves that might prevent us from being able to get a job, right? Marital status, pregnancy, political affiliations, those sorts of things, that social media often makes these things available to potential employers. And this is simply by us filling out our profiles. But if I go to your profile, I might find out that you're in a relationship, where you live, your previous employer, what your religious background is, a whole bunch of stuff. If I see pictures of you and you happen to be pregnant or you went to a baby shower, I'm going to know something. It's not necessarily that this is bad, but these are all things that used to be not allowed. They aren't allowed even today to be talked about in a job interview. And yet a potential employer can find out all kinds of things about you before you get through the door. So again, you have to decide if that's important to you and then adjust your social media during your job search. So we can dislike it, but it's going to happen. Okay, so just be prepared during your job search. All right, so we've all heard of the incidents and whether or not you're on TikTok, if you watch Reels on Instagram or Facebook, or you just listen to the news, you've all heard about people who get exceptionally upset at a situation. And it's like, challenge me, I'm right, you're wrong, or I don't really care whether you're filming me or not. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. These are typically the things that go viral. So it's unlikely if somebody is filming you that it's just going to die. It's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to go viral. It's probably going to get picked up by some of these sensational, gossipy publications. I've even seen these things on like Good Morning America, and people lose their jobs over it. Are they sorry afterwards? Absolutely. But think about the fact that every moment you're on social media, it can potentially have an impact on your job search. That being said, you definitely want to be yourself. You don't want to be somebody that you're not, right? But in the instances that I'm talking about just previously, none of that was how those people are all the time. That was a single moment of heated emotion that got unfortunately caught on a video that then got put on the internet. And now those lives are completely different. So be yourself, but be the best version of yourself is really what the point is. Right? Just put yourself in the best light so that you can get your foot in the door. And don't let your social media be the reason, your digital presence be the reason why you didn't get your dream job. All right. So just to talk a little bit about the kinds of jobs that are available, LinkedIn did a study. Medical jobs, as you can imagine, are on the rise, but there's also a lot of technical jobs available. If you're not in a technical industry, if you're not looking for a medical industry, there is a wide range of jobs that are available. They're looking for people. So use your resources to find the best job. Make sure that the things that you have control over, like your social media, you put yourself in the best light. I'm going to show you a couple of other things here. So when you go to a person's profile, you want to go to your own about section. And you want to look at all of the things that somebody can see. And then decide if this is what you want them to see. And if it's not, click edit. On LinkedIn, you want to make sure that your profile is saying what you can do for someone else. This part right here, this sort of subtext underneath your name, make it impactful. If you're a computer software engineer, that's great. You can add that there, but it's also not particularly grabbing me. Everybody that's a software engineer puts a software engineer in that space. Put something as to why you are the software engineer that I should be hiring. What is it about you that makes you better than everybody else? You have this whole section that you can update. These hashtags come from the things that I post that are related to these hashtags. These are the kinds of hashtags that I add. So if I was looking for a technical job in a particular area, I would hashtag certain words to help me be noticed in those searches. Now, my personal profile is directed towards me owning my own business and people understanding what it is that I do. So I don't use my personal profile to find a job. But if I was looking for a job, I would definitely change all of these things to show that I was available. And then, as I was mentioning in the post, if you look at posts, you want to make sure that you post things that are related to your job. or the job that you're looking for. Again, looking at articles. You can set up a Google alert, get it sent to your email, and set up a Google alert for the different kinds of things that might be interesting related to the job that you're looking for. Google will send you alerts at whatever frequency you ask it to when there is something on the internet that's related to that. You can read the article, you can decide if you like it, and then you can write something about it. Sharing information and yet at the same time showing that you have an expertise in a particular area is very valuable to a potential employer. Same with Instagram. You want to use this section to highlight the things that you are doing. This is my business one, but I also have a personal one, which is more geared towards fitness. So anyone that is looking for me to teach a yoga class or a fitness class, and this explains exactly what I do. Now, these two things are completely different, so I don't really, I try really hard not to mix the two, so you won't find this really hardly much on my LinkedIn page and really hardly ever on my Facebook page. Okay. All right. Get back here. Okay. Also, we talked a little bit about remote work, and remote work is on the rise. It's going to be here to stay, at least for the near future. It's not going anywhere. It's a great opportunity. I personally love it. All right. I have one free thing for you. If you go to my website, santoshasolutions.com, under courses, it's a free Canva course. Canva is an online software that you can use to create graphics. It is how I created the graphic for my LinkedIn page. Oops. So if you're looking for a professional banner, there's a video in the free course that teaches you how to do this. And you can use Canva for free. If you're not utilizing this section on your LinkedIn or on your Facebook page or other profiles that have this long sort of image section, you need to. It is the best way to quickly identify what it is that you're looking for and what skills that you have to help someone else. All right, I am completely available if you guys have other questions. You can contact me, you can sign up for my newsletter. I'm going to go through a couple of other things, but do you guys have any other questions? Any questions in the chat that we should be talking about? Oh,
It took me forever to do that. I wanted to point out that one of our comments was Scott said that his wife does web searches on job applicants for her company, and that she has found all kinds of damaging information, including police records, photos of them partying at college, crazy comments that they have posted. As you say, it goes back for a long time, unless you're aware of it, and it can be very, very damaging.
Yes, it's one of the easiest ways to get your application moved to the side into the no pile, because it's easy to do. I can easily search hundreds of applicants in a few hours and eliminate them. So again, you would want to do this in an incognito search. So I will say that I used to work in corporate America, and I did websites. I helped sell websites to our clients. and we were in the middle of a professional presentation and they looked up my name. The only photos that showed up were things of me in yoga poses, because that was kind of like my big focus. And that was really everything that was online about me. And other people in the meeting didn't know it about me and they were a bit shocked. So it's good to know that there's all these other photos out there now. But as you can see, many of these people are not me. So in order to get myself recognized as a potential candidate, I have to do more, which is why having an image of yourself, a current image, this is the other thing. We all think we look a certain way. And the picture from 10 years ago probably doesn't look like us today. So make sure that you have a current photo. If you used to have a different color hair and you're going for a job application and you have different colored hair now, you need a picture that has your current hair. Or if it was cut really short and now you have really long hair, these things really just help people identify and relate to you, right? I went to a networking event where a person had their image in their email. I had seen it many times. I went to go look for the person at this networking event. I could not find them. I looked all over. I was there for more than an hour, couldn't find the person. I only found the person after they said hello to me, and I stood there and I looked at him for a second and I realized the face and I was like, oh, there you are. Because she had completely changed her hair. And it's a small thing, but if you're trying to get a job, you need every resource available to you. So research yourself here. So here's a good example. This studio here, I haven't worked at this yoga studio for probably 7 years, but this is still listed. This is listed because that page is still indexed in Google. It's not on their website. I know because I manage their website, but it's indexed somewhere. And so it still shows up. So this is why you just really need to be aware of what is out there and how that affects what is it how you're presented. LinkedIn is probably going to be the most powerful because it is so business centric. It is networking. That's really what it's there for, right? It's different than other social media platforms. So LinkedIn is really the one that you're going to want to pay more attention to. Make sure that everything is updated. Really go through and cull through all of this stuff and make sure that you have you've replied to good content, because it's going to show up here in your activity, right? That you post good content if you are into posting. It's not necessary that you need to post, but it does show that you're using the platform. And again, if you're going to post articles, that you have a level of expertise in an area. And then reply to people. So there are also a lot of groups on LinkedIn. So find groups that are related to your industry that you're looking for and join those groups and then interact. The best thing that you can do is engage with people, engage with content. Liking a post is good. Commenting is better. Commenting with something more than 2 words is even better. If somebody comments on your post and they made a comment, then make sure you comment back, because that's going to help to get your post a little bit higher. On LinkedIn, most people aren't posting every day. And in general, people only post during what I'll just call the work week, Monday through Friday. Right? So it's a little bit different again than other social media platforms. So you could just post 1 or 2 times about interesting things about the industry that you're looking for, but then spend the rest of the time commenting on other people's things, engaging with leaders at other companies, and start a dialogue with people, add people to your network, definitely, try to connect with other people. When you connect with other people, right? So just from today, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can go and you can add me to LinkedIn. And I'm probably going to know that if you do that today, it's because of this meeting. But if it's not from a specific meeting, make sure you write a message as to why you want to connect. If I don't get a message as to why somebody wants to connect, it's probably a sales tactic, and they're probably going to try and sell me something after I connect with them. I'm less likely to connect. But potential employers, those decision makers, you can connect with them, write them a message that is an introduction as to why you want to connect with them. Maybe they wrote an amazing post, maybe they shared information, and you want to connect with them because maybe you've been trying to get in that company for a few years. And you can say, hey, Mary, I just saw your post on X, Y, and Z, and I thought that was a really compelling article. I would love to connect with you. Right? That at least starts a dialogue with someone rather than just hitting the connect button where they don't really know who you are, so they're not quite sure why they should connect with you. Right? Don't make somebody work that hard. Give them the easy thing. Okay.
And Carolyn, if I can point out something about your particular profile, I don't know if it'll show if you look up at the top under your headline, or if we would have to point it out. So if when I pulled her up, it said she preferred that you not ask her to connect. She preferred that you follow her instead. And so then I had to click on more. It says open to, and then add profile section, and then more. And when I clicked on more, it did give me the option to ask her to connect. And then in the note, I said, I understand that you prefer for people to follow you, and I will do that, but I would like to connect. Here's how, I know you, I'm going to facilitate this meeting where you're a speaker today. And she responded right away and accepted my invitation. So sometimes people will not provide that option to connect. They only want you to follow, in which case you have to decide if they're interesting enough for you to follow them. But at any rate, yeah, so there's the.
Oh, right, because there's really not that many options. So the only option I see here, well, I'm actually connected to you, so maybe it doesn't come up. Shannon.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't come up to connect, but I'm open to connection. And so I do usually have that connect button, but if not, then you have to click on more, and connect is generally in there.
So here's Shannon, and here I have the choice to message or I can connect. But if I click more, then I can follow, and mine says follow instead of connect. And so you would click more and hit connect.
Correct.
Yeah. That's a great point.
I wanted to point out another situation. I had a friend who had written, I can't remember what the context was, but he had written a glowing personal recommendation of a doctor. And it was not like I'm a patient of his. It's not like he's, he provided good personal care. It was like a recommendation, or something about him as a person, as a community activist, as a person of character. And they used a quote, part of that recommendation. They used it as an article about this doctor. And in the article, it said that he specialized in, or had a great many patients who were HIV positive. And so this guy freaked out because that was the first thing that was in there. And he did not want people to jump to the conclusion that since he had given that thing, that this very personal medical information, he didn't want that. And he had to go through all kinds of legal issues to try to get that changed.
Yes. Yes. So very important to know, and not only in a job search, but just in general, knowing what is out there about you on the internet. We sort of think that because we, either, block things on our browser or, don't accept privacy policies, that somehow we're protected. And the actual privacy it's pretty broad. And even though you have all of these protectors on, there's lots of information that is still being gathered about you all the time.
Carolyn, this is going to be very, very basic, but just making sure your notifications are turned on. That way you're getting any notifications, maybe like you've posted in our LinkedIn group, and somebody has gotten back to you on that. You are following a company and they have a job alert or something. I mean, I think it's important just to make sure while you're actively job searching, you have your notifications turned on. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm sure Carolyn can show us.
Yes, absolutely. You want to go into your settings and make sure that you have your notifications set to the right, so that because you don't have to get everything, right? But there are different things that you can change here so that you have things coming in. And if you're not using it on your phone, and a lot of people either don't want things on their phone, or they just can't view things on their phone, and that's okay. But you might want to just put it on your phone so that you have the notifications, so you at least know, and then you can go to maybe a device that's a little bit larger so you can see what it is that happened. But yes, if a potential employer messages you and you don't see it for a day, that could definitely be the difference of getting the job or not getting the job, right? They're usually working pretty quickly to find somebody. All right. Okay. And Shannon, I just would like to speak to your need for some social media help. And if you don't know how to do social media, then know that it is a skill that is teachable. There are lots of different courses about it. I know UT has an entire sort of adult learning. It's like it's a version of their MBA program. Most colleges have a social media program, but you can also take a number of different courses online, and sign up for my newsletter, because I am going to be launching a social media course. I'm going through a beta group right now, but if you want to learn how to do social media, it'll be a great solution. It's a very short course, but it'll be great to kind of teach you how to do it. And if you have a little bit of, if you tinker around with social media and you just need to know how to do it on a more businessy side to do the job that Shannon has, reach out to me and I'll give you as many tips as I possibly can to help you out.
Carolyn, we have a question in the chat.
Yes.
Where somebody says, do you feel that it's worth it to have LinkedIn Premium, to pay for a LinkedIn subscription?
No, the LinkedIn Premium, I couldn't see a single thing that I would need. That's sad to say, about LinkedIn Premium. No, I don't think that that's necessary. But I also don't think that as a business that you need to pay for ads on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just one of those people that thinks that there's a lot that you can do out there in the organic grassroots area. On LinkedIn, it's really about connecting with people and staying engaged. So to Shannon's point, knowing when you get notifications, commenting, working the platform, right? It's just like anything. If you want something to work for you, you have to give a little to get a little. And the platform will give you a lot if you just put in a little bit of effort. if you just write a post every once in a while, twice a week even, or you comment on posts, then you'll see that you'll start to get this movement. People will start connecting with you. You can connect with other people. I should mention there's this entire section down here on the bottom of your profile about your skills. You go all the way down. You can take a skills test. It's a little quiz, but you can have different skills here that you're an expert in. Would be great to kind of fine tune this section so that people at a glance, without really too much effort, can find out what it is that you are highly skilled at. Recommendations. If you've worked with anyone else in the group, write a recommendation for them. What a great way to help somebody else to get their profile elevated. So really utilize all those tools. And if you have the ability to ask someone in your circle to write a recommendation for you. I know Clarissa had mentioned she had done some volunteer work, and she's in the middle of doing some volunteer work. So maybe you didn't get paid to do something, but you certainly did some work. And so maybe those people could give a recommendation about your dedication, right? Your ability to meet deadlines, those sorts of things. Various skills that would be important in getting another job. So utilize those two sections. Also, don't forget about those. Very important, particularly on this LinkedIn. That's not as available on some of these other platforms. And again, because LinkedIn is so network and hiring specific, it's really good for those kinds of things.